Hey, how's it going? It's your challenger coach Adam Moriarty Isles here with our newest Mobalytics tier list video for patch 9.18. So without further wait, let's jump right into the Mobalytics Ascendant's Call to Arms. If you're an expert for a champion, consider becoming a Mobalytics Ascendant for our community. A Mobalytics Ascendant helps us create the advice, builds, and guides for our champion pages. We currently have a bounty for RP or cash if you fill out matchup advice. To apply or get more details, check out our description below. Now let's actually get started and get into the tier list. Let's get started with our S tier roster for the top lane normal list. We got Garen, Malphite, Nasus, Urgot, Yorick, Alawi, Kled, Singed, with new additions Teemo and Mordekaiser my pick of the patch. Mord has been pretty close to S tier for a while now, and I'm giving him the spotlight he deserves as an S tier champion. His ability to destroy melee champions is perfect for this meta because they're very popular in both solo lanes. His only match is pretty much just Alawi in this regard. Being able to send people to the Shadow Realm while you yell 1v1 me noob is pretty nice, but the champion also has some extreme amount of damage when you're ahead. If you proc your passive and you're ahead and you just stand next to the person, you can probably just watch them die while you spam laugh. That's how much damage that thing does. I highly recommend anyone who enjoys the old school dueling aspect of top lane to try him out, because you won't have to wait till post game lobby to force people to 1v1 you. The other champion we're going to move to S tier is Teemo. He's actually been pretty close to S tier for a while now as well, but thanks to the buffs he is receiving this patch where his shrooms won't trigger the Scuttle Crab and have increased charges to 5, his late game is going to be a lot better. People should know that even though he can be annoying in the late game, he currently kind of struggles during that phase of the game due to his lackluster team fighting and people being able to negate his ultimate with just Sweeper, or for those who know what buying a control ward is, that works too. Now though, when he has 5 charges in the late game, he can just throw a couple down during a Baron Dance situation, and then he'll have a couple more for when the team fight actually starts. And if you guys have ever been hit by a 6-item Teemo mushroom, you guys know that pain. You're probably going to die in 1 or 2 auto attacks right after. As for the rest of the changes, we got Kayle moving to B tier thanks to her small buffs combined with people readjusting to her new power spikes. Still not sure people have figured out her optimal build yet, but maybe one day. With the last change to the list being Demantheon smashing his way to A tier, but I'll talk about him a little bit more in the High-ELO section. Starting off the top lane High-ELO S tier roster, we've got Jax, Kled, and that's really it. They're just that much stronger than the rest of the top lane crew. With Akali taking a hit due to her massive nerf on her ult, it lost a bunch of base damage, increased CD at early ranks, and lost its mini stun. She fell from S tier, leaving Pantheon as the next most likely candidate to take her spot in S. Some of you may be surprised by this, but it's true. He has one of, if not the highest win rate to pick rate ratio in High-ELO at the moment, with a 53.92% win rate combined with a 9.3% play rate. This champion's crazy strong during the laning phase. He's got good 1v1, good gank setup, good skirmish, good tower dive, good map pressure, good looking. He's got it all as a top laner at the moment. If he continues to perform like this in the upcoming weeks, not only do I expect him to reach S tier, but he will also probably even see play at Worlds, which I think everyone would be happy to see. As far as reworks go, I think Riot did a very good job with this one, as he kept his simplicity, but as shown by how his win rate goes up in a very linear fashion with what rank you are, his skill ceiling seems to be pretty high as well due to the choices you can make with his empowered abilities. Other than that, we got Quinn moving to A tier, as she is a very strong counterpick to many popular melee matchups like Renekton, while Swain and Sylas got Shadow Realm due to getting lost, as they aren't really top laners at the moment outside of a few select matchups in higher levels. Moving down to the jungle normal list, we have our S tier roster of Vi, Amumu, Volibear, Master Yi as long as you go crit instead of Rageblade because it's still bugged, Jax, Doctor, Mundo, and Flair's his pick of the patch, Nocturne. He says that Nocturne's the best skirmishing jungler in the game. His spell shield plus fear plus lethal tempo will win you any 1v1. It's a common conception that he is a hard farming jungler to 6. However, your level 3 is near the top of the list when it comes to ganking power spikes. He personally feels like Nocturne is the best blind pick jungler, as nobody can skirmish him in the early parts of the game. Especially if you get that insane attack speed buff off proccing your W spell shield, most junglers are going to struggle to beat him 1v1 and won't be able to run away due to the dust trail. As for Nunu, he fell out of S tier due to the nerfs he received to his base stats as well as the slow on his E, impacting his ability to gank people even after he misses his huge snowball. He is so absurd at the moment though, with a 54.36% win rate and a 5.4% play rate, that he might still be in S, but we still put him down to A just to be safe. Taking his place without a doubt is going to be DR Mundo to S tier, flexing a 54% win rate. We talked about him a little bit on our last video, but he's been tearing it up in the jungle on the normal list lately due to his clear speed being faster than even Shyvana's. He also kills Dragon faster than Shyvana, his tankiness and scaling is also better than Shyvana's, his skirmishing is way better than hers. Oh wait, it looks like he's just a better version of her currently outside of the fact that he doesn't look as good wearing a wizard hat and going AP. Mudo is a great hybrid option for solo queue, as he's a tank that scales well, but has the damage of a bruiser, allowing him to have more carry options compared to a regular tank jungler like Sejuani, who has to rely on using her CC to make sure her team can do damage, which, let's be as real, it doesn't happen as often as what you would like. That leaves us with Taliyah moving off the list due to not nearly being as good or as popular as my beloved Evelynn, who makes it back on her list due to the massive buffs her execute damage on her ult got, allowing her to more reliably kill bruisers or even tanks. Thank you, Riot, for the lovely but unnecessary buff to my main jungler. I can now go back to jungle secondary instead of abusing Rakan, and I think a lot of Evelynn mains are also pretty happy about this. Moving down to the jungle high-elo S tier roster, we got Taliyah, K6, Rengar, Nidalee GG, and Karthus. Just like with the normal list, we move Nunu down to A tier, but he still does have a chance to stay in S tier, so stay tuned to our update video next week to find out. Currently, both top lane and mid lane have a lot of melee AD options to carry with, like Taliyah, Talon, Kled, just to name a few. This makes it so that AP junglers like Nidalee or Karthus become a lot more valuable. Both champions farm very quickly and have ways of helping out these aggressive skirmish style solo laners, which is why we're moving them both to S tier. One of them looks to invade the enemy jungler, put on pressure with sick mechanics and aggressive plays, looking to snowball the game early and close it out. The other one is like a TSM jungler, power farms till 6, then looks for a gank. Doesn't see one, continues to farm, hopes for infernals, then hits R once or twice a game. This strat for Karthus works great in solo queue, to be honest, because the likelihood that either team plays over aggressive and lets him get free kills off his ultimate is pretty high. Even better if you have the mechanics to hit Qs, though that's still optional. Other than those two, we got my boy Panth moving into A tier as a solid choice in the jungle at the moment. Just remember, please take press the attack, and I highly recommend trying out Flares' Panth build of Titanic into Wit's End. If it sucks, you can just blame him, but the math does check out, as his W is great for proccing on hit effects. As a final message, I would like to also mention that with the constant buffs to Echo, he might very well make it to S tier on either list, so stay tuned. For the mid lane normal list, we got our S tier roster of Malzahar, Lux, Vel'Koz, Ahri, Swain, Diana, and the best for last, Fizz. We only have 2 changes to the list this time around, so we'll start off with Pekin's pick of the patch, Echo. He says that we have already seen some Echo in professional matches, SKT, prior to his buffs, and he's only going to keep getting stronger. This champion has received back-to-back buffs, so we can expect him to be fairly strong on 9.18. For runes, you should run Electrocute, Taste of Blood, Ghost Poro, Ravenous Hunter, then Manifold Bend / Absolute Focus. You want to max Q, then E, then W. As for a build path, you're going to want to start Corrupting Potion into Dark Seal, then Proto Belt, grab some Sork Boots or Merc Treads, Lich Bane, Zhonya's, Deathcap, then Void Staff or Morello's, depending on the game. With that wrapped up, Pantheon's going to move to B tier in the mid lane, but that's not important. We got a situation. Annie, are you okay? You got buffs after so long, and it's pretty nice buff too, giving you movement speed on your E. That's definitely B tier to A tier material. Both Antibot and LS are going to be extremely happy about this one, as it will be giving their favorite champion both an easier way to engage and avoid ganks. Annie's problem has always been how easy it is to space versus her when her flash is down. Adding in a movement speed increase is really going to help her versatility as a champion, as she will be more easily able to catch people off guard, get in stun range, then hit all of her buttons as fast as possible just to one rotation them. Alright, even though her E is getting a CD increase, it isn't used that often at the moment anyways. It's just to lessen a little bit of poke or proc or passive. Now her E is going to be an actual ability that you get to use for impact on the game. For the mid lane high-elo S tier roster, we got Talon, Katarina, and Qiyana. Despite the nerf to her ult and E, which did take her down a notch, Qiyana still stands far above the other mid laners. She's pulling out so much pressure in the early game with her roaming playstyle, which is similar to Talon's, but unlike him, her gank setup is much better and she scales better as her ult is way too good during neutral objective fights. Not to mention, if you've ever had the pleasure of playing as Qiyana, you can likely confirm how annoying her ult hitbox is. It just seems to land no matter what, and then once it lands, you're pretty much dead every time. She will remain the premier assassin for now and likely be a contested pick at Worlds, as her competitive win rate is still disgustingly strong. As for the rest of the list, we got Aso flying back to join us in B tier due to a very large base health buff, which should help him in the early game. Panth moves to B tier but could likely go to A tier, as he is amazing at countering the melee heavy assassin meta in mid lane like Qiyana or Kassadin. That matchup's free. Akali moves down to A tier due to her nerfs, Fizz moves down as he starts to perform worse in Masters Plus, Aatrox's nerfs killed him in mid lane for solo queue, Annie moves into B tier as a bit of a prediction, and Kassadin moves down from A tier to B tier as there are too many AD matchups in mid lane, blocking his quest for free LP at 16. Back to the bot lane, we have our normal list S tier roster of Jinx, Jhin, Draven, Yasuo, and perhaps pick of the patch, Misfortune. He says that Misfortune never had a 1-point wonder build before. You either had to choose between maxing W or E after your Q for either more AoE slow or more DPS from the W. This change lets Misfortune get the AoE utility of her Make It Rain in just 1 point, which allows her to get the best of both worlds because she can max W second now. She was already close to S tier for the normal list, so he thinks this will push her over the edge and make her an optimal pick for most players in the bot lane. The only other change to the list will be Xayah moving down from S to A tier. She received quite a large nerf to her survivability this patch with decreased base armor and increased ult CD. This makes her much less of an all-around safe pick, making her quite vulnerable in the early stages of the game to all-in lanes or things that already beat her like Draven or Caitlyn, who actually got a buff this patch as well. Xayah is currently the go-to marksman for most people looking to climb, as she has good laning, CC, self-peel, and scales, while also being a freeload combo with Rakan, making her far too strong currently. This nerf will hit her hard, but it's not enough to make her go down to B tier, or much worse, Kalista tier. Now, I know you guys come here for some off-meta bot lane picks too, so my suggestion this week is going to be Panth bot lane. I've been seeing Sneaky play it a lot lately, and it's doing really well, so this is now an Adam Moriarty Isles Challenger Coach approved bot lane pick. So pick up some Mantheon in the bot lane, try him out. It's definitely going to get you some wins. Or not. Back to the bot lane High-ELO S tier roster, we got Draven and Kai'Sa. But wait, don't Draven mains say he sucks right now? Okay, trusting Draven mains on the strength of their champion when most of them have 60% win rates on it, and you know he's got good meta matchups into Kai'Sa and Xayah. Actually, speaking of Kai'Sa, didn't she receive a nerf? So why is she still S tier? Pre-nerf, she was by far the best solo queue ADC, having mobility, solo play potential, late game, early game burst, and the most versatile build paths out of any marksman, allowing her to adapt to any team comp or really any enemy team comp. At higher levels of play in solo queue, if Kai'Sa gets fed, most of the time someone will instant hit FF because they just don't want to deal with that and don't even think the game's winnable anymore. This means with how strong she is currently, hitting some of her attack speed on her E likely won't be enough to dethrone her from her solo queue supremacy, as she is often just killing people with her W into RQ combo, then auto attacking, but the auto attack doesn't land because they're already dead. Think I'm exaggerating how strong she is right now? Look at any of the top ADCs from any region, and you're probably going to see Kai'Sa in their top 3, most likely top 2, and it's for a reason. She's still OP, still hoping for more nerfs. In other news, Vayne moves down from S tier, but is still a frontrunner in A tier, while Xayah moves down from S tier, losing her power couple status with Rakan, as she is now A tier, unlike him. Sivir also moves down from A tier to B tier, as she is a terrible early game champion now since the W nerfs came in. I tried it out myself and thought her W was bugged because it was just doing 0 damage to minions. I was actually surprised. In the support role, on our normal list, our starting S tier roster will be Zyra, Brand, Banana Girl, Janna, Nami, Pyke, and yeah, that's right, it's Swain. It's a pick we here at Mobalytics have been talking about for a while now, and it's finally reached S tier on the normal list. Even over on the Swain subreddit, many people have started to realize that Swain support might actually be legit. It's for sure a cheesy pick that doesn't hold up as well at higher levels of play, but still manages to carry games thanks to its high kill pressure during the laning phase. He also has pretty good scaling from the support role, becoming a true damage and carry threat into the late game, kind of like a Zyra or a Brand, but tankier so they don't feed as much during teamfights. Give him a shot if you want to try a strong off-meta pick, and I'd pair him up with Caitlyn or Yasuo if you're looking for some strong combos. Speaking of off-meta supports, Will's pick of the patch is Misfortune. He says that though it's unlikely that Misfortune will be the best support this patch, with the buffs that are coming in hot, she will become a viable support once again. With what feels like the perfect timing for Worlds, the buff to Misfortune has made her a much more potent and difficult laner to play against. With the slow increase, it will now cripple the slowest of ADCs, and with the large range of the ability, she will be able to poke people from afar and be able to hold her own even in tougher matchups. He says that some of Misfortune's more challenging opponents aren't as strong anymore and aren't played as much, which makes Misfortune a much safer pick compared to before. Just try and avoid Pyke. Last up, we got Annie moving into B tier as a slight prediction, as her buffs may allow her to be more versatile in terms of lane pressure and roaming potential from the support role once again. Personally, I hope neither Misfortune or Annie support becomes popular again, but we got them on the list anyways, and I pray they never reach A tier, unlike Pants support, which I do pray makes it to A tier, because that would be great. In the support role, on the High-ELO list, our S tier roster will be Janna, Rakan, Thresh, and Pyke. Yeah, I get it. It's one of those champions doesn't look like the other type of thing, but she will take your breath away and your LP if you underestimate her in solo queue at higher levels, okay? Don't mess with Janna. Let's take the time to talk about Zilean now. Now he's moving down from A to B tier. Pretty simple, he just performs a lot better in Diamond compared to the other brackets above it, as he kinda lacks lane pressure and gets abused the higher up the ladder you go. This leaves our last change of the patch being Leona moving from B to A tier. Won't lie, not happy about this one as she is a hard counter Rakan, but also has good matchups into all of the hook champions like Nautilus, Pyke, Blitz, less so versus Thresh, but if you engage on him with your ultimate then chain to the stun before Aftershock goes off, it's a winnable matchup. Right now, most Leona players currently just ban Morgana, then lock her in knowing that the enemy team will likely lock in one of the 4 Hooksmen of the Apocalypse, or Rakan, making her fairly reliable in solo queue in terms of getting a good matchup. She's got some amazing playmaking potential, roaming potential, just remember to take Hex Flash for extra playmaking or BM potential and you'll do just fine. Thanks again for watching our tier list video for patch 9.18. Feel free to ask us any questions in the comment section below to answer in our next Q&A, and as always, be sure to check out Mobalytics.gg, and I'll see you summoners out on the Rift.